Hi, my name's Amanda Ziba. Welcome to my channel, Learning with the Word Nerd, and another First Chapter Friday video. Today, in celebration of National Poetry Month, we are going to be reading the first little bit of Starfish by Lisa Fipps. It is a middle grade novel in verse, and it is fantastic. You're going to want to make sure that you stay through to the end of the reading because afterwards I get a chance to talk with Lisa and hear all about her writing process of this, including soundtracks she listened to, including the working of lines, the different plot elements she chose to contribute to it, and how it all worked out. So make sure you stick around to the end. If you're unfamiliar with this book, I'm going to read the inside real quick so you have an idea of where the story is going. Ever since she wore a whale swimsuit and made a big splash at her 5th birthday party, Ellie's been bullied about her weight. To cope, she tries to live by her list of fat girl rules, which are not at all about standing out. And she's found a haven in her swimming pool where she feels weightless in a fat-obsessed world. In the water, she can stretch out like a starfish and take up all the space she wants. Ellie finds an ally in her new neighbor Catalina, a girl who refreshingly doesn't judge, and in her new therapist, a woman who knows how to laugh at the right things. With these good people buoying Ellie up, it's a lot easier to face the bullies and Starfish in real life by unapologetically being her own fabulous self. Now, there are no chapters in this book, so I am instead going to read you the first 23 pages. Just for a while. I step down into the pool. The water is bathwater warm, but feels cool compared to the blisteringly hot air. Kick, glide, stroke, glide, side to side and back again. Dive under the surface, soar up to the top, arch my back, flip, flop. As soon as I slip into the pool, I am weightless, limitless, just for a while. Name calling. Eliana Elizabeth Montgomery Hofstein. That's my name. My bestie, Vib, and my parents call me Ellie or Elle. But most people call me Splash, or some synonym for whale. Cannonball into a pool, drenching everyone, and wear a whale swimsuit to your under-the-sea birthday party when you're a chubby kid who grows up to be a fat tween, and no one will ever let you live it down. Ever. Splash is born. Now whenever I swim, I use the steps to ease into the water, careful not to make waves because the memory of my pool party plays in my head like a video on a loop. It was my 5th birthday. I wanted to be the first one in, so I ran to the edge and leapt into the air and tucked my knees into my chest. Water sprayed up as I sank down. I bobbed to the surface, expecting cheers for the splashiest cannonball ever. That didn't happen. Splash spawned a tsunami, my sister Annis called, and she almost emptied the pool, my brother Liam chimed in. I dove under, drowning my tears. I wish I could tell everyone how they made me feel that day. Humiliated, angry, deeply sad. But every time I try to stand up for myself, the words get stuck in my throat like a giant glob of peanut butter. Besides, even if they listened, they'd just snap back. If you don't like being teased, lose weight. Fat girl rules. Some girls my age fill diaries with dreams of private thoughts. Mine has a list of fat girl rules. You find out what these unspoken rules are when you break them and suffer the consequences. Fat girl rules I learned at 5. No cannonballs, no splashing, no making waves. You don't deserve to be seen or heard or take up room to be noticed. Make yourself small. What, why, who, how, when. The first fat girl rule you learn hurts the most. A startling, scorpion-stinging soul slap. Something's changed, but you don't know what. You replay the moment in your mind from every possible angle, trying to understand why. Why the rules exist and who. Who came up with them and how. How does anyone have the right to tell you how to live just because of your weight? Mostly you remember the smack of the change. One minute you were like everybody else, playing around, enjoying life, and then with a flip of an unseen cosmic switch, you're the fat girl, stumbling, trying to regain your balance, acting as if you know what you're doing, like when you used to play dress up and tried to walk in high heel shoes. The gift. Every time I see a pudgy preschooler, I want to hand her my list, like the answer sheet for a test. Like to spare her pain of learning the rules firsthand. But instead, I give each girl the gift of more days, weeks, and months of a normal life. Whatever that is. Belly's dancing. Viv's mom caught her dad with another woman and said Texas wasn't big enough for the three of them. So now my best friend has to move to Indiana. In my backyard, we live streamed the Latin Music Festival on an outdoor screen as part of her going away party. Viv starts belly dancing like she learned at a class at the Dallas Public Library where her mom was a librarian. I follow her lead and our arms morph into snakes as our hips figure eight. My dog Gigi, a pug, runs circles around us as we sing at the top of our lungs along with the bands and dance with complete abandon, like you do when you're alone in your room trying out some new moves or making up some of your own. Except, it turns out we're not alone. The new neighbor. Mid-twirl, I open my eyes to see a girl's head pop up over the fence, then disappear and reappear. This trampoline girl saw me shake parts of myself I didn't even know I had. What do you think you're doing? I stop dancing so fast I about give myself whiplash. I see her head again. I heard Dia Divertidos, she says so quickly it sounds like one word. She disappears and reappears. Couldn't help myself. In a flash, she climbs over the fence and lands in front of me. I'm Catalina Rodriguez, a poet and a musician. Catalina points to the concert on the screen. Wow, so you like Dias Divertidos too? I have all their songs on my playlist. Me too, I say. Who else do you listen to? Don't get Ellie started. Viv rolls her eyes. If eye rolling were an Olympic sport, she'd be a gold medalist. I'm a poet, so I love music because lyrics are sung poems, I say. Rap and country are my faves. I'm a guitarist, Catalina says. I like all music, but love Latin. She chooses her words carefully, like me, but she's not like me. Catalina's skinny, like a pancake. I'm more like a 3-tiered cake. My fat dar should be sounding the alarm. Why isn't it? The thing about fat dar. Fat dar is a lot like Spider-Man's Spidey sense, a sixth one. Somehow we just know when someone's about to say something hurtful or do something mean. Even in a crowd, I can spot a fat phobe, someone who's grossed out by overweight people. Fat phobes give off this vibe, part discomfort, part shock, part fear, part anger, and all hatred. Shadows. Baila conmigo, Catalina shouts as the next song starts and she dances with us. Teach me how to do that one move, Ellie, she says. Which one? The one where you kind of kick in your leg while you spun? When I dance, knowing Catalina's watching, I feel every pound of my legs, see my fat shake, and notice how round my shadow is on the grass next to her ankles. So I stop. Fat girl rule. Move slowly so your fat doesn't jiggle, drawing attention to your body. But that uncomfortable in my own skin feeling fades as the music blares and Catalina squeal screams going all bananas with us during the tribute to Selena. If dancing partners were food, Catalina and I would be peanut butter and jelly, cookies and milk, chips and salsa. We're different, but make a perfect combo. Heads, hips, and hands moving in sync. Right on cue as the sun sets, the katydids start their singing, fast and furious since their tempo's based on heat. Or maybe Selena's bitty bitty bom bom beat. Catalina de las buenas noches y en casa, a woman calls out. Gotta go, Catalina says. Thanks for letting me crash your party. She climbs back over the fence, then trampolines. Can't wait to come over again. Like Picasso. Some people have mood rings. Viv has hair. You can always tell how she's feeling based on her hair color. Since she has to move, she's like Picasso, in a blue period. Her bottom lip juts out as she pouts, and when she huffs, her stick-straight blonde bangs with blueberry tips stand straight up for a second. What's wrong? I ask when we float in the pool, cooling off after the concert. Today was our last day together until who knows when, and not only did I have to share you, but I also had to watch while you made a new friend. New friend? Catalina? Is she? Saying goodbye. The stars at night might be big and bright deep in the heart of Texas, but not where we live, thanks to light pollution. Sirius. I point out the brightest star, the only one visible. Leave it to you to know the dog star. Notice there are no cat stars? Maybe not in the Milky Way, Viv says, but I'm sure there's a galaxy more evolved than ours where cats rule. They'll invade our planet and make all pugs prisoners. Admit it, you'll miss Oreo. She splashes me with each syllable. Only if you'll admit you miss Gigi, I splash back. When Viv's mom picks her up, we promise to text, video chat, whatever it takes to stay connected. Viv suggests we make a blood oath. I remind her she faints when she sees one drop. We settle for a tame, lame pinky swear. Viv starts to open her car door, but then throws her arms around me. We cry our goodbyes. Super sleuth. Every kid needs one place they can escape to when life gets to be too much. The pool is my place. Today I've been in the water so long my fingers look like raisins, but I plan to swim and float for hours more, mourning my first day without Viv and the last day of summer vacation. I love to swim. Can I join you? Catalina's back on the trampoline. I barely know her, so can I trust her with the pool? I haven't swum with anyone but Viv since the Under the Sea party. I still don't know why Catalina wants to hang around me. Could she be friends with Marissa and Courtney and helping set me up for a prank? I climb out of the pool and wrap my towel around my shoulders like a superhero cape. Time to activate my sleuth powers. I wish I could keep swimming, but I have to get my stuff ready for school tomorrow. I don't lie. Catalina climbs over the fence. I've been putting it off too. I dread being the new girl. Like Wonder Woman with her lasso, I seek truth. I ask Catalina, "You going to Kaiser Academy? Is that where you go, Ellie?" I nod. I wish. Then we'd be together. But I'm going to Bishop Joseph Catholic School. Wonder Woman wouldn't give up till she had all the answers. Neither can I. Want to get our stuff ready together? I thought you'd never ask. A fresh start. The best part of going back to school is the back-to-school supplies. We dump everything on the floor. Catalina zooms in on one of my prized finds, flamingo pens with feathers. Watch what happens when you write, I say. The flamingo dances as I scribble on a piece of paper. She trades me a unicorn pen for one. It lights up when she taps it. Great for writing in bed. The best ideas for songs come to me at night. Same with poems. Viv and I used to do this. Swap and share supplies. Me and my friends too, but they're all back in Houston. So she's not from here. She doesn't know Marissa and Courtney. She doesn't know I'm Splash. Being friends with her will be like opening a brand new notebook. A clean, fresh start. Lucky dog. Every morning my pug stands on her hind legs snatching kibble out of the scoop before I even have a chance to dump the food in her bowl. Gigi doesn't hide her hunger. She feels pure joy when eating. She devours every bite and licks the bowl, her tummy full. She circles 3 times before lying down and resting her chin on my feet under the breakfast table. Curled up and cozy, she soon starts snoring. She's happy with her round body. Content. Comfortable. And no one bullies her because of it. Lucky dog. Family for breakfast. We have a tradition of eating breakfast and dinner all together on the first day of school. No exceptions. Grub's ready. Dad slides omelets and toast onto plates. But scrambled egg whites or oatmeal wasn't what we agreed. Mom talks like a ventriloquist through her teeth with her lips fake smiling. I surrender my food to Liam, who will be a junior in high school this year, and make a beeline for the fridge for some fat-free yogurt that's yet to make me fat-free. A new article dangles from the refrigerator magnet. Dairy products might aid weight loss. It slightly covers the other articles, including my fave, tips to be a real loser. Mom just loves hanging these articles on the fridge for me. She's a writer and a magazine editor, but spins her words for a different reason than I do. I plan to become a storyteller and a poet to help people feel what it's like to live in someone else's skin. Mom's a journalist, determined to expose all that's wrong in the world and spotlight everyone's flaws, not caring if she gets under people's skin. Does she remember? Dad looks at Annis and Liam. Both are wearing new clothes. I tug on the hem of my old button-down shirt, trying to make it longer. No new clothes for Ellie? Dad asks Mom. She gained more weight this summer. I'm afraid if we keep buying her bigger clothes, she'll just let herself get bigger. If Mom thinks I look horrible now, wait until I can't fit in anything and I have to go naked. Liam inhales his food and belches. I'm out of here. Seconds later, the back door slams and tires squeal as he shows off his red Mustang. He thinks he's a stallion since he turned 16. Enjoy 6th grade, Splash, Annis calls over her shoulder as she leaves to start her senior year at high school. That's like saying to a shark bite victim, enjoy the free liposuction. I wonder if my sister even remembers it's her fault everyone calls me Splash. How that one word on one day changed my world. If you want to see what happens to Ellie in the rest of her 6th grade year, you can check out Starfish. And right now, we're going to check out a conversation with the author. Readers, we are in for a real treat today because we have the author Lisa Fipps to talk with us. So Lisa, thank you so much for joining us today.
Well, thanks for having me.
Yeah, I am so excited. I read this book, the whole thing, cover to cover earlier this week, and I feel like we're friends now. I don't know if people tell you that, but I just loved it. And I have 5 questions that I prepared to ask you, so I'm just gonna dive right in. Is that all right?
That's great.
All right, so this is your first book, your debut book, as they call it in the book world, and I'm wondering why this is the story you wanted to tell first.
I think the story Starfish is near and dear to my heart because it's based on my life, a lot of my life. I've been fat all my life. I was a fat girl, little girl, and I was bullied all the time. And so everything that happens to Ellie didn't happen to me, but a version of it did. And she got the watered down version of my life. And so I thought, what is going to be my first book? What do I lead with? And I thought it has to be this book because this is the book that I needed when I was a girl and it didn't exist. So, and it still didn't until I wrote it. So,
right. And it is so important, valuable, and we're so grateful that you did. In addition to issues of body image and confidence and self-esteem, there are many other layers in this book. There's some family drama and relationships. There's some relationships about racism a little bit with her friend Catalina. Religion and different cultures all play a role in this story. So how did you decide which layers to include and how much of an importance they would play in the plot?
I think, well, each one was chosen for a different reason. I think the interfaith relationship, her mom is Christian and her dad is Jewish, is because, first of all, so many families are interfaith these days. And second of all, because, that does create its own issues. And between that and then her parents always, battling it out over her, it just gave all of these different dynamics there that she ended up feeling kind of guilty for and, self-blamed. So I wanted that. And then I think the reason I included Catalina being Mexican-American is because, first of all, it's very common in America, especially in Texas. And second of all, sometimes when you're going through a crisis like Ellie was, it's hard for you to see, oh, other people are in crisis too. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so I think it was important for her to be aware that she wasn't the only one experiencing hate, and hate doesn't just come because of your size. She learned from the one bully that it can come because of your economic status. It can come from your race. It can come from lots of places. And I think that was important for her to see because, like I said, you get myopic on what you're going through. And I wanted her to see that people are bullied for a lot of reasons. Because I think Starfish, even though it's about body image and especially being fat, really it's transferable to anyone who's being made to feel different or bad for being different. And it's relatable that way.
Absolutely. Yeah. In my family, we have a saying like, this is not the world, right? Like it was especially used for like younger
Yeah.
people in the family. But when you're, when you're in middle school, like this is the
Mhm.
world. Like this is what you
Right.
know. And like you and your experiences are like first and foremost. So I thought it was a great way to show that there is more going on outside, ourselves and to open our eyes to that. So it was wonderful.
Thank you.
I read on your website that this was originally written as a YA book and
Yes.
that you then later in a revision changed it to be for middle grade readers, grades 5 to 8. Can you talk to us about your decision and about that process and why you did that?
Yeah, it was originally written as a YA, and Nancy Polson, who is my editor, saw it. We submitted it to her, and she was like, I think this will sell as a YA, but I think you should rewrite it as a middle grade, and here's why. She said, if you write it as a YA, the kids who read it it's gonna be like a reminiscence. It's gonna be like, yep, this has happened my whole life. It was horrible. I hated it.
Mhm.
And she said, but if you rewrite it for middle grade, you're catching the students when they're bullied the most. And this will be a tool in their toolbox. And I was like, why didn't I think about that? You know what I mean? It was like, of course and so that's the genius of Nancy Polson is she saw that. And as soon as she said it, I was like so relieved, really, because I really prefer middle grade, but I just felt like I needed to write YA and I'm not sure why. And so I was like, oh, I felt so much better putting this in the middle grade world than the YA world anyway. And her reasoning was spot on. That's exactly what I wanted. I wanted to reach the kids while they're being bullied or while they're bullying, either
Mhm.
way. And so that's how that came about.
That is awesome. I love it. And I
Yeah.
think that really people do think of YA first. Like they think of like these books that have been like crazy popular and that they're young adults, but really middle grade is where they start to kind of become readers
Right.
and grow into that. And I taught sixth grade for 12 years. So
Okay.
middle grade is firmly where my heart is. I think it's the best books. You created a soundtrack for this book. Can you
I
tell us
did.
about that? How you use those songs? Why you picked the songs? I've heard of authors doing this before, but I've never had a chance to talk with them about it.
When I write, I often listen to music that puts me in the same headspace as the character. So when I was writing Ellie's part, especially, I listened to Brave by Sarah Bareilles like probably a billion times. And it still makes me cry certain parts of it because I'm like, oh yes, this is exactly it. And then one day when I just listened to it on my playlist, and one day I saw the video and they're starfishing, and I'm like, this was meant to be. This was meant to be.
Just
Um, yeah, it was perfect. And so I think I've heard a lot of other authors do that where it helps you just kind of get in your character's headspace. And so then I picked a couple when I was kind of writing for Catalina and Viv. So there's kind of two for Ellie and then two for them. And then I also just listened to different things like uh but those were the main ones. But like when I'm writing when she's in the pool, I would listen to like, you know, water music, just trying to get me in a pool mood. And when I was also just writing the scene where she first meets Catalina and says, well, she's saying kind of goodbye to Viv. I listen to a lot of Latin music. And so it's a lot of fun. I've got a playlist started for book 2 as well. And it's a little harder to find ones for it. But yeah, it really just helps me get in a headspace and a lot of times though, there's certain times when I'm in a certain zone where I can't take to hear lyrics. When I'm really in my right brain, lyrics throw me out of it. And so when I'm doing that, I often put on my headphones and just listen to instrumentals and that somehow speak to me in the moment. but yeah, music, I'm very much into the arts, writing, drawing, music. That's always been me. So it made sense to use that as a tool for me.
Yeah, yeah. I know it's all listed on your website, so I'll make sure I'll put the link there if people want to check it out. I listen to music too when I'm writing. If you go to YouTube and type in epic movie soundtracks, that's a good one. You get all these like super emotional, intense, or like, you know, like battle scenes. Like you find the music that matches the mood you want to convey, and it's almost like magic. It really
Oh, it
does.
is. It is. It
It
is.
really does work. All right, for this last question, I have a few of my favorite lines from the story. Um, and I want to know, do these lines just come out of you, or do you like work them? Do you like, do you wordsmith them? So here's some of my favorites. My stomach somersaults. It's the only part of me that can do gymnastics. Dad's always had my back, not the knife in it. Being friends with her will be like opening a brand new notebook, a clean, fresh start. Sometimes shock breaks all the words out of you like candy from a piñata. What can you tell us about those?
Okay, definitely the gymnastics somersault. That's just my natural sense of humor.
Yeah.
So that one I didn't work for. It just came to me. Um, the notebook, the fresh notebook, that came to me as well because that was me as a kid. I was like, I didn't care. You know, a lot of girls wanted the cool school clothes. I was like, give me the office supplies. I don't, I don't care. I don't care if I have new shoes or shirts. I want my cool, 128 crayons or
Fancy
whatever.
pens and the brand new notebooks and the planner. Yeah, I feel like school supply shopping should be like a national holiday. Like
Oh,
I'm so excited about it.
yes. Yeah, that's me. Totally me. The knife in it also just it just flowed from the moment. And then
The candy and the piñata.
yeah, the candy and the piñata, that one came as well. And I don't want it to make it sound like they all come easy. You just picked ones that did. Um, it just depends. And I think part of why that works, those came naturally to me. First of all, because that's me, with the pens and the notebooks, and then also that's my sense of humor with the somersaults. But when I was a journalist, you had to write really quickly and you had to be as concise and powerful as you could in a short amount of space. And so it became like a second nature for me to write those little, what I call
Mm-hmm.
pithy little things. But there is plenty in Starfish that I was like, I would rework it, and then in the next, and I'd leave the poem alone for 24 hours. I'd come back and I'm like, oh, I still don't like it. How can I fix that? How can I fix that? How can I make it better? And sometimes it was just changing one or two words, and sometimes it was like, oh no, this needs an overhaul. So it just depends on the situation, really. But those ones came easy.
Yeah. Listen, and I think there's some valuable lessons that, you said so much of Ellie's story is your story, and so her voice is your voice. And so for, young writers who are wanting to get started, it might feel like not as fantastical to write about your own life or a person who's like you, but it's a good place to start because you already know what's going on in their head because it's your head. Um,
Right.
so and being, observant and noticing those little things about life and those details that stick out. So
I think that's the thing, like with the piñata, it just made sense to me because I love that image and it just fit right there. And I thought that's what it's like, and whenever you can use like an analogy, it hits home. It really hits home. And so I try to use them fairly often without, drowning people in them. But it does make sense, I mean, um, yeah, but
yeah.
that's a good lesson for kids. Mhm.
Yeah, if you're trying to take something that feels like abstract or that you
Mhm.
can't hold in your hands, like putting it with
Mhm.
something familiar, that's a
Exactly.
that's a great way to do it. So analogies, language arts teachers, you guys can brush up on that. So
Yes.
Well, thank you so much for answering these questions. Everyone, rush out to your indie bookstore and grab a copy of Starfish. I already read you the first chapter, so you know that it's fantastic. But if you want to find out what happens to Ellie and the rest of her story, you need to get your own copy. Lisa, what is next for you? Where can we connect with you online? Tell us all the good things.
Well, I'm continuing to work with Nancy Polson on my next project too. So I'm on deadline for that. And then you can find me on authorlisafipps.com, and then on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram, it's author Lisa Fipps. Just always remember to spell Fipps with an F, or you'll never find me under, or you'll find someone else under PH.
Sounds good. Well, I will make sure to make it easy for everyone and just put all of the links in the description box. But thank you so much for your time today. We look forward to reading whatever is next from you.
All right. Well, thanks for having me. I appreciate the opportunity.
You're welcome.